Women have historically been manipulated with the messaging to like do it for the kids. So I think this is like really triggering for people, but I think this comment is actually really interesting too. So let's dive into it. Men get manipulated too with the do it for the kids, but I mean, because the onus of taking care of the children has been on women traditionally, it's there's no comparison. So I'm actually recording this on a Saturday morning. I'm still in my PJs. I've got my, my book here and my coffee, and my husband's taking my toddler for a run, and I have the house to myself for like an hour to, just like wake up slow and do my thing. And these are kind of, when we talk about self-care, we often talk about this, and when we're talking about, mother's needs, we're often asked to give them space like this, and this is absolutely necessary for sure, but I don't really think this is the kind of like filling your own cup needs that is really really the issue for most mothers. Like when we're typically talking about doing it for the kids and stuff, we're not talking about like being busy, or just like pushing through to get them to school on time. No, we're talking about staying in toxic relationships. We're talking about giving up dreams, hobbies, your sense of self. And this stuff was never good for the kids to begin with. So this comment, I actually missed the last part about initially about the parent trying to meet their needs through the children. And like, I mean, I come from a family where one parent suffered kind of on the spectrum of like narcissism. So like I totally this is one of the worst scenarios that you can be in as a child. But again, right, we're not talking about the child bringing mama some coffee in the morning, or, cleaning up after themselves or something. We're talking about kids taking care of parents' needs. When we're talking about filling cups, exercise and taking time out and whatever, like this stuff is crucial, absolutely. But this isn't really the cup that needs to be filled. It's not your teacup. You know what I mean? I thought I had a demanding life in university when I sat on all kinds of committees within the administration and the faculty. I worked in the school as well as doing my studies, which I had to maintain, first class standing grades in, which is it's hard work. It's not about being smart, it's about working hard. So I noticed then that I had to actually have a consistent exercise routine to keep my energy up. So I went to yoga 3 times a week, and I ran 1 day a week. So now, as a parent, as a mother, and having a business that I work part time at, I need to go to yoga 6 times a week and run five, because this is it's a really big job, right? And I know a lot of people out there would be saying, I can't do that. Maybe you can do that, but I can't do that. And usually the reasons for it are I don't have the time, I don't have the energy, or I don't have the resources, right? I don't have the support. I don't have the relationships around me. That's fine for you to say, Mrs. Makes high 6 figures a year. You have a nanny. I can't do that. I don't have the resources for it. So now we're getting closer to the cups that actually need to be filled, right? It isn't really about the exercise routine. And I hope y'all are prepared, because this might come across as some tough love stuff coming up. So if this is not your day, if you just do not have the strength to like, face some stuff right now, just save this and come back to it later, okay? Like I see you, mama. Sometimes like we got some tough days. But what kids need is a leader, okay? So essentially what you're doing as a parent, and what any parent should be doing regardless of their gender or sex, is being a leader. They're being a mentor. So what makes a good leader and mentor to you? Well, it's somebody setting you up for success, right? Somebody who sees your potential, somebody who sees, how you could develop, your natural talents, the skills that you are lacking, the skills that would really benefit you in making you, live up to your potential.
Also somebody who is like foreseeing your needs and supplying you with the tools that you're going to need in order to succeed, as well as responding appropriately and immediately to your requests, right? And it doesn't mean fulfilling your requests like immediately and dropping everything, but it means, hey, I see you, I hear you, I recognize that you need this thing, and I'm gonna get back to you. I'm gonna make sure you get this thing, right? It's a person that guides you with their greater experience and maturity. So what happens if you didn't have this leadership? What happens if you didn't grow into, you know, the beautiful, wonderful version of you that you could have? What happens when you weren't shown the maturity to facilitate your growth, when you weren't led, when you weren't mentored? Like, self-sacrifice is never gonna cover up those lacks, right? Those cups, they need to get filled. When we're talking about time, I don't have the time. Like, I mean, maybe it's because you have different priorities, right? And that's like, hello, we're like families, like you know, most people are doing this. Most people are doing the family thing, and everybody is individual. So like, we're all like, you know, we're doing our families the way that we want to do our families. If it's not a priority to you to, you know, exercise or eat healthy or whatever it is, then like, that's not a priority to you, and that's why you don't have time. But the other reason you don't have time, if you actually really do value these things and you want to be doing these things and you want to be filling those cups and you want to be having the Saturday morning or whatever, and you think that you don't have the time, time management is a leadership skill. And the resources, you know, having the like engaged, you know, father of your children that's gonna take them out and do things with them and be an actually engaged parent, like, that comes from, you know, like, who you are as a person, and how you value yourself is largely reflected in your choice of partner. If you haven't become the best version of you, you can't expect the best partner to, you know, be like super down to start a family with you, you know? And energy, you don't have the energy? Like, do you know what the biggest like robbers of energy are? It's not exercise. The reason I exercise more is because the more energy you use, the more energy you create, like on a biological level. But like, do you know like the biggest energy thieves are stress and grief? So if you're carrying around the burdens of, you know, a society that is mistreated us, parents that, you know, were misguided, etc., like, this stuff is draining. So when we're talking about filling cups, you know, we're talking about filling cups, filling mothers' cups. We're talking about coffee cups or teacups or glasses of wine, and giving them time to, you know, go to brunch or whatever. Like, this is like throwing some fertilizer on a rose bush that is not, like, you know, producing the right flowers when it's lacking like water and sun. And this comes right back to this person's comment, of like knowing when and where, like like knowing what cups actually need to be filled. Because if you weren't mentored and you weren't led, like, it starts within. And I say this, and I've said it a bunch of times, and I'll say it again, you know, loving, like actively loving someone, that saying that you have to love yourself first before you can love anybody else, like, that act of actively loving yourself, of actively leading yourself, of becoming the mentor within, that is how you learn linearly, step by step, exactly what to do and how to be a leader to others, how to mentor others. This is why you need to love yourself in order to love other people, because otherwise you don't know how. This is where you train. This is where you learn. So ladies, we need to start leading ourselves. We need to start developing ourselves towards being the better version of us. Those are the real cups that need to get filled. It's creating peace, love, dignity, and beautiful, abundant surroundings. Maybe a hot bubble bath will help, but it's not gonna heal on its own.